Years ago, I had in my purse a very unusual coin. It was, and it was still around slightly, a farthing. They had ceased to be valid currency, but they could still now and again pop up. The date on it was 1947, and it had on it the Queen on one side, and on the other, actually it might have been the King, 1947, it would have been still King George. And then on the other side it had, now what? A little birdie. But it wasn't any birdie, it was it was a sparrow. The word is from the Gospel that we've just had now, and do you know the reason why? In the old translation in English, it was this: are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing? So it got onto the coin and remained there until the coin ceased to be. It's interesting that that actually could still be there, a part of British life and part of currency, the Bible on the coin. Now, of course, God is not fashionable in society, and we're not allowed even to celebrate Christmas, are we? It's a holiday, whereas we can quite publicly celebrate Satan and Halloween. That's quite okay. With regard to the farthing, the Lord is warning us not to be concerned about things. That is to say, as though we were God. 2 things in this Gospel. One is that even the hairs on our head are numbered, and that not even a sparrow falls to the ground without the Father's leave, hinting that God is in ultimate control, and that we have better things to do than try to rule the universe ourselves. And what have we to do? Well, it's in the first part of the Gospel. Think about eternity. Did you notice the Gospel? Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Fear him rather who can destroy both body and soul in hell. Now, one day we had that Gospel coming in when I was preaching in an enclosed convent in Italy, and afterwards the Mother Superior came up to me and said, "What does that Gospel mean, that verse?" I just said to her, "Well, just what it says." Yeah, we can actually lose our soul in hell, and therefore the Lord is warning us, think what actually matters. Is it all this worry about usually things which won't help at all, or is it that issue that's worth worrying about? Now, it's kind of important, because if we're not careful, drainage will take place on our soul. As we go through life, worry will pull our energy, but in the wrong direction. It can happen to anything that we're fixed on, actually. Look, for instance, at a person who really wants to do well in sport. How important a match is. Look at a person who really wants to succeed in his career. Everything else is secondary. Look at a person who really wants to succeed in his romance, his love life. That'll be at the centre of his attention for all those years as he grows up. Look at those who want to succeed in the academic world, all for one extra mark, but their soul. Now, on this day we're feasting early martyrs. It was the last real big wave of persecution. Around about 300 it started to get bad again under Diocletian, and these 2 twin brothers were doctors who used to heal without charging. Their name has survived in the Roman canon, and every day as I was going to college in Rome, I'd pass their church, St. Cosmas and Damian, and I'd sometimes walk in. And it goes right back to actually about the 400s, if I remember rightly, because already at that time, their church was the church that one visited on one day in Lent. Because in Lent, for the 40 days, there is a church for each day, where we go and celebrate Mass. And we used to do that when we were students. That was one of the churches. But it was already there in about the 400s, showing how ancient these churches are. And they were crystallized then by Pope Gregory the Great, who died in 604. They were all then fixed until now. The same church is still standing. And one goes in there and time stands still. And in that particular church, you went in and you looked straight away at the altar, and on top of it was a great, majestic Christ. Christ sitting on his throne as judge and teacher, Lord of the universe. In Greek it's called the Pantokrator, the Almighty. He is Lord, and it's a mosaic. In the apse there, that's the circular part at the end of the church, and underneath him you've got lots and lots and lots and lots of white woolly sheep. The Good Shepherd is saving, is healing, is teaching, is leading unto glory all these sheep of the centuries. And when one celebrates in these old places, especially if one uses the old Eucharistic prayer which has their names, Cosmas and Damien, they're still there, one feels time standing still. And at that point, there is no time, as it were. When one is celebrating the sacred mysteries, it's as though one is outside time. One is using the same words as the early church used. One is using the same Holy Spirit, the same power of God, and hearing the same words coming back. Because there are certain things that never change. The presence is the same explosion is coming through. And there, one sees what is worth worrying about and not worth worrying about. Because after all, we pass. The football game passes. The career passes. Even the wife actually passes, especially if we don't succeed in keeping her until death. But this bit will not pass. Even marriage, in the last resort, is to help us to get to glory, to give us a partner, to help us on the way, to create a domestic church. And how many actually find that it's just the opposite that's happening, e.g. remarrying and getting in regular situations, defeating the object. Now before you young people start, think, where am I going? What is important to me? Will I spend my life worrying about what I can't actually mend or help anyway? Or will I really think about what matters forever? And what does matter forever? Glory. Face to face with the one who's there on the throne. And do you think we can avoid him? Do you think anyone can avoid him? Do you think the greatest success on earth can avoid him? No one will avoid him. 1 second after death,